Before I get into this video, I want to apologize to all of you about my setup or lack thereof of a setup, and you might be hearing a little bit of reverberation or sound bouncing off my walls here as I'm currently in the process of moving. So it's going to be like this for probably the next month and a half or so. So again, thank you for bearing with me. So anyways, in this video, we're going to be talking about two of my absolute favorite wireless gaming headsets. And I did do standalone reviews on these headsets as well. So if you want a deeper dive, you can check those out. But we're going to dive pretty deep here and cover the core, what makes these my favorite. But first, a quick word from our sponsor of this video. And believe it or not, no fluff, it's my favorite gaming keyboard from Corsair, being the Vanguard Pro 96. What makes the Vanguard Pro 96 my favorite is it's just, again, packing everything that you need. Number one being a 96% layout, so you have that full-size capability, but it's compact to give you that desk space. You have this super cool screen on the top right with your media dial that you can really adjust any and everything on the keyboard. And then on the flip side, you have 6 dedicated G keys for some quick access macros, and you're not going to accidentally press them like we've seen on many keyboards previously. And most importantly, you have adjustable magnetic switches, and these switches are butter smooth. They feel amazing. With 8,000 polling rate, and even putting a cherry on top of it all, you have web-based software with Corsair. Super easy to adjust and customize the keyboard to what you want. I mean, there's a reason you all have seen this keyboard in the background of just about all of my videos. If I'm covering headsets, mice, whatever it be, I'm using this keyboard in the background, and I have been since it's released. It is that good. And again, just like these headsets we're about to talk about, the same plays into this. Dollar to value and what you're getting, it's packing everything you need to have a great gaming performance and features and functions. You're just getting your money's worth. It's such a great board. Take a look at the links right down in the description. But now let's go and take a look at my two favorite wireless gaming headsets. As you see, we have the Razer BlackShark V3 Pros and then the SteelSeries Arctis Nova 7 Gen 2s. Both of these are the newest version that are out on these, and you can get these for any platform, even though we're looking at the Xbox version here and then the PlayStation version here. Now, of course, as you all know, comfort's going to be number one, so let's go ahead and talk about that first. And I first want to show you the weight of these headsets. Kicking it off with the SteelSeries, we're coming in at 329.7. Let's just call it a flat, even 330 grams on a SteelSeries. So 330 over there. Putting the BlackSharks up here, we are getting 364. Now that is without the microphone. The SteelSeries is with the microphone since it's retractable, but once we slap the microphone on these, you're coming in at 380 grams. So even though both of these headsets are extremely lightweight, as you just saw, you can tell the weight difference. And I don't know if it's so much you got the floating headband design over here on the SteelSeries, and then the Razers are kind of traditional with that headband, but you just notice the little bit of weight increase on the BlackSharks. And I think the biggest thing where that comes into play is you do get little micro adjustments. As I've been using the heck out of this headset, you kind of feel them adjust down a little bit. So I'll catch myself mid-game just coming over and just tweaking them up a little bit. Not a big deal or deal breaker, but again, something I did notice in my use. Now, even other than weight, there are some significant differences with both of these headsets as far as comfort. And just looking at them like this, you can probably pick them apart. Again, number one up here as the headband. But more importantly, as you're seeing them right now, the SteelSeries, you have that full swivel. They go a little bit out and then they go in right there. Really nice to be adjustable for any head shape or glasses, or if you're wearing a hat or whatever. Again, they really conform to any head shape. Now, even though the Razers don't have full swivel, they have plenty of swivel. You see they go in, they go all the way out right there. I know a lot of people, they talk about full swivel and like it so they can rest them on their shoulders. Me personally, I don't do that because they still feel like they're choking me because they're going to be up here on my throat, right? So the nice thing about the new BlackShark V3s, unlike the V2s, is again now having that swivel so it conforms to your head shape. No matter if you're wearing glasses, you got a bigger head or a smaller head, it conforms into there. But again, the biggest thing is going to be that adjustability. The SteelSeries, they got that tension glide right over here. It's very firm in there, so I don't really catch those micro adjustments needed mid-game. Unlike over here on the Razer, they move pretty darn easily after some extensive use. And another significant difference is going to be the ear pads. Both of them have that sports weave, very soft to the touch. I will say the Razer ones might be a pinch firmer than the SteelSeries, but again, it's absolutely mild. Both of these ear pads are incredibly cozy. Looking at it here, you can see the Razers are just a slight bit bigger. So if you got jumbo ears, the Razers might be the way to go. But again, these are so soft, I don't think you even notice it if it's resting up there a little bit. Both of them are incredibly cozy, but the biggest difference is inside. You can see the SteelSeries, you have that pleather lining all the way on the inside, pretty much goes up to the outer edge. Still very breathable. You're not gonna get spicy ears or anything, but coming over here to the Razer, again, you got that sports weave going all the way to the inside. You do have the pleather, but it's tucked down towards the bottom there, so it's not really holding in that sound, which we're gonna talk about later on. It plays a big role in it. And also, as far as these ear pads, they're both easily swappable. And yes, Wicked Cushions does make ear pads for both of these. Links for those will be down in the description as well. So as you can see, both of these headsets are hands down stinking cozy, no questions asked. Like, I can game with these for hours and hours with no issues, no pressure points, no issues with glasses. My ears aren't getting sweaty or anything. I can game all day with either of these gaming headsets, but if you sat through that entire segment right there, you can see the SteelSeries took the win in a couple areas. And yes, I will say the SteelSeries are a pinch bit more cozy. Now let's go and take a look at the features and functions on both of these gaming headsets. And let me tell you what, they are packing a lot, so this might be a long segment, but if I miss something, because I'm going to try to be brief about it here, if I miss something, go watch the standalone reviews on either of these headsets if you're interested in them, because I take a deep dive into there. And by the way, even though we're looking at the Xbox and PlayStation version, no matter which version you get of either of these headsets, every feature and function I'm going to talk about here will be available on all variations. So first off, take a look at the Razer BlackSharks. Right up here is your microphone mute button, that traditional springy out, in and out, and you get a little tone in the headset. Right down here is your power button, USB-C port for charging. Right up here is your microphone port, because again, this microphone is detachable, and yes, that windscreen comes on it, and we'll do that microphone test here shortly. Now over here is your volume wheel. Nice tactile steps, kind of has a firm feel to it. Really a nice premium feel here. Love the volume wheel out here. Easy to find. I just wish they'd make it so you can like press down and make it mutable. That would be really cool. Now, talking about a charging USB-C, the BlackSharks can get up to 70 hours of battery life. Again, that's pending if you're using Bluetooth or wireless, volume, so on and so forth. Active noise cancellation, which I'm jumping ahead of myself here, which over here you have your quick switch mode, which you can set it to 2.4, Bluetooth, or simultaneous. So really cool to have the option to, again, cycle through all of them if you just want Bluetooth or just game, you know, or simultaneous Bluetooth and game audio at the same time. Really like that feature. Over here, game to chat dial, which this can be customized, which I'll show you in the software here in a second, but this is going to work per system that you get on. So if you get a PlayStation, it'll work on PlayStation. If you get Xbox, it'll work on Xbox. Right below that, you have your active noise cancellation button, which you have transparency, ANC, and then you can turn it off. Now coming over here, taking a look at the SteelSeries, same thing on the microphone mute, traditional springy in and out right down there. You have your volume wheel. This is free gliding. It does bottom out at the lowest and top out at the highest. No tactile steps in there. You have a 3.5 jack because yes, you can run this headset via 3.5. Your microphone is retractable, included in there, and you have that microphone mute light up there if you guys can see it with all the lights on. Really love that feature. Coming over to the other side of the headset, you have your Bluetooth and your power button. And again, you do have simultaneous Bluetooth, and you can set it to the Bluetooth to turn on with the headset or just leave the Bluetooth off, but you can't cycle through like you do on the BlackSharks. I really like how the BlackSharks did that. Over here, it's kind of, you know, one or the other and all at the same time, if that makes sense right there. So then right down here, again, you have game to chat dial, free flowing, and again, that will work priority to which system headsets you get. And as far as the battery life on the SteelSeries, you're getting 54 hours, up to 54 hours. Again, that's depending on which features you're using. And by the way, if we count this as a feature or function, both of them do have replaceable decorative plates on the outside right here, so you can customize them to what you prefer. Now, before we do the microphone test, I want to show you the app functions on these headsets. And both of them do have app control, which this is something I think every gaming headset should have, because if you're not on a PC, you're gaming on an Xbox or a PlayStation, you want to still have the customizable features that you have on a PC. You don't want to have to set it over there and then bring it over here. So again, the simplicity of it and then what everything is packing is super cool. So kicking it off with the SteelSeries over here, I really love how they do this. You got 2.4 settings, and then you have Bluetooth settings over here as well. As far as the EQ, which you have all of the Sonar EQs that you can choose from here, you're bound to find something that works for you. As far as me, on the SteelSeries, I use The Last of Us 2 Remastered, as I have been playing that game, but even playing Battlefield or Borderlands 4, that is a great EQ. If you got this headset, give that one a shot for sure. Now, you've seen this volume limiter down on the bottom. Make sure you turn that off, because if it's on, your volume is going to be incredibly low. So make sure you crank that up. And by the way, whichever headset you're using, make sure you go in your system settings as well and turn the volume all the way up there. So you got three different things. Make sure your headset volume's up, make sure this is off, and then make sure your volume's boosted up on your console or within your PC as well. Now, coming over here, you have microphone settings as well, which you got some EQs to choose from right there. Then you got your sonars to choose. You can set a custom one. As far as a custom one, you have to set that on a PC, and then it saves over to the app. You got your microphone volume, and then a microphone LED on the front. If you want to totally turn it off, you can. So really cool as far as the app here. Super easy to use, and tons of audio options to choose from as well. So you're bound to find something in it that works for you. Now, coming over to the Razer one, you just first select your product, and as you can see, I tested the PlayStation, the Xbox, and the regular BlackShark V3 Pro, so just letting you know right there. But first up, you get the battery life up here, your active noise cancellation. You can select that. You have ambient on and then off, and you can also adjust your levels right over here as far as active noise cancellation. So that's really cool. That's one of the biggest differences you're noticing, that the SteelSeries does not have active noise cancellation. And I do appreciate that over here, especially with my son playing trumpet lately. Coming down here, you have your EQ. So you got default, game, movie, music, and then Halo, which over here you can actually create your custom. You have multiple presets in there, but if you come over here to set this, you can dabble with your own custom one right there, and it lets you know what you're doing. The sub bass, or over here down to your highs, your treble right over there. So very easy to dabble with and get your own custom EQ set in there. Really like how they did that here. Coming down further, microphone equalizer, as you see, it's off, but if I unmute the microphone, it'll come on right over here. You got those presets. We're gonna test both microphones in the flat EQ, but you can come over here and customize your own microphone EQ as well. Really love that. Mic monitoring, as far as your side tone, you can adjust that. Bluetooth gaming mode, ultra low latency, which this is a new thing on the BlackShark V4s. I leave it on, but again, I don't notice a difference from or V3s. I get my Vs mixed up with Razer, but you can't notice a difference from the V2s to the V3s. You just can't. In-game audio mix, as far as what it's gonna do, I always leave mine to mute so I can be focused on my phone call. But all in all, that is the app. Well, I didn't show you the roller configure here. You can control it to game to chat, footsteps, or mic monitoring, and that is this right over here, this roller. What I told Razer I would have really liked is to be able to set this as Bluetooth volume, so I can have my game volume and then my Bluetooth volume, so I don't have to adjust it on my device. That would be really cool if SteelSeries did that as well. But there's only a few headsets that have, again, the game and Bluetooth volume wheels on them out there. I wish, again, that became kind of standard.
All right, so now let's go ahead and get these microphone tests in. First off, you're going to be hearing the SteelSeries Arctis Nova 7, the Gen 2s here. Microphone about 2 finger lengths from my mouth, and I have the volume set to 60. In Razer, which you're going to hear, this one's going to be in 60, and then the SteelSeries. Now, the SteelSeries actually does increments like 1 through 8 or something like that, but in the system, I got it at 60. Over here, I got it at 4, so it's kind of on the same bar. And both of them you're going to be hearing in flat. I think that's a fair test. Anything that you want to tweak for your environment, like me with this echo and, hollow sound I have in here right now, I'd probably want to do something different. I'm not going to waste your time showing you the software. You all are pretty familiar with it. And everything I showed you in the app app you can pretty much do in here. You have sonar. On the SteelSeries one, you can dive into sonar and really dabble with your sound right there. You can play around with that, but everything else, volume limiter, mic volume, all that stuff, you can do right here in the sound. Now, again, I wanted to show you with the microphone in flat. And again, this is just a standard room, so nothing fancy, no sound tweaking. But I also want to show you, like if we go to balanced here, this will be balanced. Is that gonna, because my P's and T's are pretty prominent. I'm a louder talker, and of course, we got this just about empty room with the reverberation going on here, so we'll balance to make it sound better. We all know SteelSeries microphones have always been quite nasally and airy, so does balance help it out right there? We're going to be going through this test together. But all in all, this is the Nova 7 Gen 2 microphone.
And now you're hearing the microphone on the Razer BlackShark V3 Pros. And I apologize if I got the V version wrong throughout this video. I get confused with Razer and the V. It's like my Death Adder. What are we on here? The V4 Pro Death Adder, right? I just get confused. So I apologize for that. But anyways, as far as this microphone, same settings. 2 fingers from the mouth here. We're testing it on a flat EQ first. And I'll tell you what, when Razer first came out with this headset, you know, as you listen to some of the reviews, the microphone was bad. And it was weird because the V2s had such a great microphone. Like, it was one of the best ones out there, you know what I mean? And this one was really bad when it released. They did do an update now, and the weird thing, it's not like an update of the microphone per se, but it's an update to the default EQ. Most default EQs of microphones are usually going to be flat. But the default one for the V3 Pros now, out of the box, I'm going to set it on right now, default. And what you see it does is drops that bass down and pulls the highs up right there. So I'm not sure how this is sounding. Like, I would kind of think it would sound maybe a bit high-pitched and soft back there. So I'm not too sure what this is doing, but this is what it is now. This is the default. If you can see it there, that crazy just like wave peaking up. So I don't know if that was a fix or whatever. We're hearing it here together. I'm going to put it back on flat because, again, that's a fair test, flat to flat. See what we get. Now, one other thing is, there are some differences in the software on the Razer. You got microphone enhancements, which you don't have on the app. You can't adjust unless I was looking at that wrong. But anyways, you got volume normalization. You have vocal clarity as you're hearing here. You have noise cancellation, which I don't know. Is that going to eliminate the radiation of the sound of bouncing off my walls here? That'll be pretty cool to see if it helps out with that. And then noise gate, of course, if you're one to holler, is it going to reduce that down a little bit? But anyways, you have some presets up here. And other than that, pretty much everything else that we talked about with the software, you can adjust in the app. But at the core, I wanted to test flat to flat. See who wins this microphone test. I just listened to both of those playbacks of those microphones right there, just like you guys just did, in the raw format, no audio tweaking or anything. And I got to be straight with you. I don't think either of these microphones are good. If I had to pick one, I would say, man, the Razer one has like these cut in and outs and like this, I don't know if I'd say static, but like these interferences in there. And it happened on the standalone, my standalone review of these as well. And that's a real annoyance. At the core, if you can focus on just the audio of the microphone, I will say the Razer one sounded better, but the performance was worse, if that makes sense. As far as the SteelSeries one, it's what we're all used to, right? It's that airy, tinny microphone that just picks up all the sound. I really heard again, my empty room on that as well. So again, it's really a toss-up here. I don't think either of them are that good. Me, as far as using a microphone, I'm not like talking and talking whenever I'm gaming, you know. It's just a real quick thing here, like, oh, hey, let's run and capture point A or something like that. Real quick, brief talking, or if I'm gaming with my son, then I'll use the microphone, you know. But, you know, I always recommend, and I've recommended it in multiple videos before, always get a standalone microphone, you know, especially if you're on PC, you slap it on an arm, you put it right there, it's going to blow any gaming headset microphone out of the water, and then you can utilize it on other platforms as well. So again, both of these microphones suck in my opinion. Get yourself a standalone, but that's not just with these headsets, that's with any gaming headset. get a standalone microphone. Now let's go and talk about the sound. And the sound signature on both these headsets are drastically different. Number one, the SteelSeries are packing 40mm drivers with a frequency range of 20 to 22,000. On the Razer BlackSharks, we're getting 50mm Triforce drivers with a frequency range of 12 to 28,000. And it's not so much that frequency range, which yes, that does play into it, but hear me out here. So as far as the games I'm playing, a lot of Borderlands 4 and an absolute embarrassing amount of Battlefield 6. My gosh, that game is so good. You all know I'm a Call of Duty fan, but I'm probably going to skip Call of Duty this year because Battlefield is so good. I've been playing Battlefield since day one as well, but they kind of fell off, but now it's so good. This isn't a review on Battlefield, but my gosh, I love that game. So let's focus on Battlefield here because you got a lot going on. You got grenades, you got levelation, you got gunshots, you got footsteps. Everything's going on. Now, I wouldn't say Battlefield's like a competitive FPS game where footsteps are really priority, but you still want to hear if your enemies are running up a stair or they're down below you or up above you. And I will tell you what, on the SteelSeries, you don't really get that detailed footstep direction. So like, say I'm up on top of a floor and I got enemies coming in from the bottom or top, whatever it may be, they almost sound like they're just there. Like you can hear them. Like if I got an enemy coming from over here, I can hear them, but I can't really pinpoint, right? Like, are they on top of me? Are they below me? Are they right next to me? Or are they two rooms over? You know what I mean? It's kind of impactful and you get a lot of that sound. Like, again, you can hear them clear as day and I can spot them through that, but it's not very pinpointed. Where are they? Top, bottom, left or right type of thing. Well, you can tell the left or right. It's really that top or bottom because it's very prominent in the footsteps. And that goes into the SteelSeries headset pretty much in general. Like they're more impactful, they're more immersive. You have that bass, like they're gonna vibrate on your head a little bit, which is great for like Borderlands. But believe it or not, it's great for Battlefield as well. I made a headset video saying my favorite or the best headset for Battlefield, and it was the Nova 7s. And again, when I say the best, right, that's my opinion. I'm making the video here, I'm using them, and it's what I want. I want that immersion, I want that impactful sound, right? And I want to feel like I'm on that battlefield, and that's what I get with the SteelSeries. But again, if you're more into that competitive area, that's not what you're going to get from the SteelSeries. Again, you're getting more of that fun gaming experience with the SteelSeries, and you do get some of that, again, sound. Like you can hear the footsteps, you can hear the reloads and the grenades when they come pinging around you and stuff. But again, it's not detailed and really direction oriented. Hopefully that makes sense. For me, I like to have fun gaming. I don't want to take away everything that's fun and make it just like competitive focused. Whatever, that's just me, right? But going over to the Razer, you still get that impactful sound. Like you really get, you feel like you're on the battlefield. You're not getting as much bass as a SteelSeries, but you do get that bass right there, you know what I mean? And it is impactful. Now, the cool thing about the Razers is as far as those footsteps, you can pinpoint them. You can tell if they're below you, they're above you, left or right. You hear them walking up the steps and you can decipher multiple. Like if you got some to the left, you'll hear those, and you got some to the right, top or bottom, you can hear those. So clear as day as far as competitive, and if that's what you're into, that's where the Razers really shine. And it's, you know, I never caught myself with one or the other, be like, let me go back to the SteelSeries because I get that immersion, or let me go back to the Razer so I can get those footsteps. You know, both of them really did what I wanted, but as far as that separation, that's the biggest thing. The Razers definitely separate the sounds more, when the SteelSeries are pretty much in your face. You got levelation, that's what you're hearing. You got levelation when you're using the BlackSharks, the Razers, you can still almost hear someone walking up to you, depending how big that building is or wall that's coming down on you, you know what I mean? So that's what's really cool about the Razers for sure. And again, both of them really serve a different purpose. Like I'd pick the SteelSeries if I was primarily playing story games, you know what I mean? Or if you're like me and you still like having fun gaming and you're not, everything's not like esports and just FPS and stuff. Oh man, y'all know how I feel about that kind of marketing, you know? But that's not me hating on the Razers. Again, anytime I put on the Razers, I'm like, okay, this is fun and I can get down with this. It's just you get a little bit more of that directional type of detail where the sounds are truly separated. So Counter-Strike, Valorant, something like that, I think you're probably going to want to go with the BlackSharks. Now, one last thing I forgot to mention about the sound of these headsets, being that noise cancellation. You got that active noise cancellation over here on the Razers. And again, that plays a big role. My son's playing the trumpet in band in school right now, and that noise cancellation comes into play. It just blocks out the sound, you know what I mean? Which is really nice to have, especially if you got a noisy environment. Now, on the flip side of that, remember the SteelSeries where I showed you the ear pads and they got that pleather lined inside there? They block out a lot of the sound, and it's not bad. Like, you're not getting all of that. I can hear my son play the trumpet with these, of course, you know, but it's still blocking out some of that core sound. And the other thing, talking about the SteelSeries having more bass and body, you do have that pleather wrap around on the inside of the headset or the ear cups. So that's holding that sound in right there. So even though the Razers have BlackShark or have the noise cancellation, you're still blocking out a lot of noise with these, but these are definitely holding in more of that bass with those ear pads. Again, as I stated, you can get Wicked Cushions ear pads for either of these, and those will lock in more of that sound there. I didn't test that. I wanted to test these at the core here, but if you want more bass, you'll get that with the Wicked Cushions. Now, when it's all said and done, comfort, sound, features, and functions, it all comes down to the price tag. The Razers are going to come in at $250 when the SteelSeries comes in at $200. So $50 is no chump change. You can probably go buy yourself a game. Well, maybe not these days as games are like 70 bucks, but you got $50 left over. But you also have active noise cancellation over here. So you got to decide, what do you really want? There are significant differences here. You get to really decipher that. Now, with Black Friday coming up right around the corner, you're going to be able to get the older versions of both of these headsets for significantly cheaper. I believe both of them you can get right now for around $150. And then with Black Friday coming up and they got the new versions coming out, I wouldn't be surprised to see the older versions of these coming in at $100. And yes, both of them are amazing headsets still. You're just going to lose some of those features and functions. Like, I don't believe either of these old ones have app control, which is a real stinker, and that alone would push me to buy the newer versions here. So again, both of these headsets are incredible. Two of my favorites. Let me know which one you will pick right down in the comments.